Hi, this is Ofori, the digital reader, and lately I've been thinking about adding another reading tracker app to my list of apps. And that's mainly because I've been getting a couple Android devices that I'm doing some digital reading on. And I've also been getting people who've been asking me for some recommendations of reading tracker apps. My favorite reading tracker app, and it's still my favorite, spoiler alert, is Bookshelf, Book Tracker, and List. I love that app, but that app is only for iOS. So what I was looking for is an app that I could use with iOS and with Android. And also, if somebody asked me for a recommendation who was an Android user, I could say, this is my favorite iOS app, this is my favorite Android app for reading tracking. And at some point, who knows, if I ever switch to Android, it'd be nice to know I already have an app that I can easily switch over to. So what I would do is get this other reading tracker app and just use two reading tracker apps. I would use Bookshelf, Book Tracker, and List for my main, and then whichever app came up and made it through all these heats, I would use kind of as my secondary app, and I would just populate that with the data from Bookshelf to Reading Tracker. So what I kind of did is I kind of did almost like a Squid Games thing. Is I kind of have 5 rounds, and each of those rounds have kind of deal breakers for me, things that I must have in a reading tracker app. And if you didn't make it through a round, you got knocked out. So these are the beginning contenders. I have 21 popular reading tracker apps. Some are really big names like Goodreads. Some are names that you maybe haven't heard before, like Lido or Luna. But these are kind of the most popular ones. And generally, they focus on tracking what you read, tracking how many books you read a year, and giving you goals as to how many books you want to read a year. And then there are the fine points. So the first round has to be cross-platform. That means it has to work with iOS and it has to work with Android. So the ones who made it through the first round are Basmo, BookBuddy Digital Library, Bookly, Bookmary, Bookshelf, your virtual library, Fable, Goodreads, Luna, Redo, and Storygraph. So they all made it through the first round. Round 2 is that I generally, when I buy an app, I like to buy the lifetime subscription. Even if it's, over $100, I don't mind if it's a lifetime subscription. But if I'm not buying a lifetime subscription, then I kind of base how much I'm willing to pay monthly on how much I use the app and how important it is to my life. A reading tracker for me is important, but it's really just an add-on. It's not like something's going to happen to me if I don't have that app. So the round 2 is these reading trackers. If you pay for an annual membership, it needed to be less than $3.50 a month. There were some that were $3.55. I gave them a pass, but it had to be less than $3.50 a month. So the ones, and some of them are free. Some of them are actually, so if it was free, of course it made the cut. But if it had a cost, it had to be less than $3.50 a month. So the ones that made the cut: Basmo, BookBuddy, Bookly, Bookmary, Bookshelf, your virtual library, Fable, Goodreads, Luna, and Redo. So now on to round 3. Round 3 is definitely a deal breaker for me. Round 3, the app must allow you to export your data via CSV or some type of universal format. Anybody who watches this channel knows I'm a person who loves to own my stuff. And if I'm putting all this reading data into an app and then I can't get it out and it's stuck in the app or in their website, that's an absolute deal breaker. So the ones who made it through round 3 are Basmo, BookBuddy, Bookmary, Bookshelf, your virtual library, Goodreads, and Rito. All of those, you can export data via CSV. So now we get to the big rounds, round 4 and round 5. And I can tell you right now, only 2 contenders made it out. So round 4, another big deal breaker for me is I like to time my reading sessions. And whether I do it in the app or with a timer, I like to time how long I read, and I like to put it in my reading tracker. So round 4 is that out of the contenders who made it through round 3, they must allow timed reading sessions. And when I say timed, I don't mean how many days. I mean hours, minutes, seconds. You can time how long you read. Round 4, we only have 2 contenders left, Basmo and Bookmary. And last is round 5. And round 5 is basically they have to have robust reading and reading speed stats. So I want to know how many books I read this year. I want to know how many hours I read. I want to know what my general reading speed is. I want to know the names of all the books that I read. So I generally want good reading stats that I can look at. And I'm definitely not dinging them if their reading stats are in the pro version, because you should be getting the pro version if you're really going to make this your full-time, app that you're going to use for tracking your reading. So for round 5, both Basmo and Bookmary made it out of round 5. So for Basmo and Bookmary, I'm going to install both those apps, and I'm really going to take an in-depth look at them and then come up with who my final winner is, Basmo or Bookmary. And I'm generally going to spend about a month just using the app, reading books, tracking reading, and seeing how it feels for both of them. And then I'll do a review of the winner. And I may even do a review of the runner-up, but I'll definitely do a review of the winner. So I just thought this was kind of a fun intro to reviewing my reviews of Basmo and Bookmary. This is Ofori, the digital reader, and keep reading.